Hey guys, Tyler here. I just had to record a brief little intro to the episode because I needed to explain that Mark's audio is a little bad this episode. There's a little bit of a lag because the internet was terrible when recorded. It's still serviceable, but it's not the best. And there's also going to be, I think, 2/3 of the way in, there will be a little lag with his video and his audio. And there's really nothing I can do to fix that. That's just because the internet was really bad. But again, this is a pretty good episode. I hope you guys enjoy. Hello and welcome to Film Frauds, a movie show where we give our 100% unprofessional and biased opinions about the movies of today, tomorrow, and the past. I don't know how Matt does that every time, but today we're back, just Mark and I. Matt is still arrested for his La La Land take, but oftentimes on Film Frauds, we like to do kind of special topic videos that we're passionate about. A couple days ago, we did our Game of Thrones one, so you can check that out. I don't know how to put an annotation, but it'll be somewhere up here. But today, we are talking about a very different thing, something that Mark and I really like to do. Mark, what is that?
Today we are talking about the Criterion Collection. And for those who don't know, the Criterion Collection is an American home video distribution company which focuses on licensing important classic and contemporary films and selling them to film aficionados.
Oh, like us. We're film experts.
Yes.
What has happened recently? What came out at the July 10th? What started?
So July 10th, the Criterion Collection had a 50% off sale through Barnes & Noble. So from July 10th to August 2nd, you can go and get any Criterion Collection title available for half off, which is, they're normally $40, but now you can get them for $20. And if you're a Barnes & Noble member, you can get it for $18. So I highly recommend it if this is the first time you ever heard of the Criterion Collection, because this is the gateway drug into cinema.
Yes.
It's amazing. I like discovered it like 5 or 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, I was like, why would I ever buy any Blu-rays? This is so dumb. I'll just stream it, losers. And I'm not going to disclose how much money I've spent on Blu-rays in the past 6 months, but let's just say the Criterion Collection is amazing.
Yeah. As you can see, I don't know what right here. I have been buying Blu-rays since I was 15.
Loser.
I'm a very big loser. I spent so much money on these. But the thing is, though, I've always been turned away because I used to go to Newberry Comics when they used to have like cheap Blu-rays, and they always used to have the Criterion element right there. There was always Life Aquatic of Steve Zissou on Criterion, and it was $20 right there. And the thing, I would never buy it because I was the person who would always buy Blu-rays on sale. I would always wait for it to drop to basically 12 and under. And whenever at Criterion, Newberry Comics was $20, I go, no way I'm going to buy that. I didn't also know about Criterion. So then Mark, 6 months ago, I was like, I'm buying Criterions. I was like, okay, sure. And then all of a sudden he starts talking about it more and more. And then I kind of got really hooked. And now I have considerable amount from the sale, and I've spent too much money.
So yeah, like the incentive to buy a Criterion Collection edition of a movie is they have, top-notch restoration, high-quality, films in their selection. Like, where else are you going to see like a, 4K digital remaster of a silent film from the 20s? It's only through them.
Yeah.
And you get these like very high quality restorations, and then they add so much stuff on the disc, like a documentary about making the film, interviews with film critics. Sometimes a director, has some sort of special conversation that's recorded with Criterion that they put on the disc.
Audio
and then on top of that,
are great.
Yeah. And then like you get like a little essay book.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's like an essay from like a film critic about like the significance and importance of this, a certain film and what makes it so great. And, you really learn a lot about just cinema in general. If you're interested, it's heaven.
Yeah. I feel like we should also specify, I would not spend this money if they were $40. I wouldn't even spend this money if they were $30.
Yeah.
$20, they're perfect value.
Yeah.
Excellent value for $20. But this is also the time where people buy a lot of box sets, and I was not spending that much money.
I was.
You were, yeah. I was buying individually though. But yeah, so we basically just want to do a thing where we bought a bunch of Criterions and we also bought a bunch of Blu-rays during this time, and we just kind of want to talk about it and give you our thoughts. You'll see very two kind of distinct tastes in movies, I feel like, between us. So Mark, what was one of the first Criterions you buy? We're gonna go one for Mark, one for me, and kind of go to the end to discuss them.
So, Solaris. This is a film that came out in 1972, directed by my favorite filmmaker, Andrei Tarkovsky. It's a science fiction film, and I'll say that I've seen this before. Like, I didn't buy this blind. I've streamed it before on the Criterion Channel
Wow.
streaming service.
We're also not sponsored by Criterion. We should preface that.
Yeah. I'll do it for free any day of the week. So yeah, welcome to materialism.
This is
the video.
Look at behind me. This is I spent a lot of money on stuff to own.
Yeah. So Solaris, if you're unfamiliar, this film is Russian. It's in Russian, and it's about an astronaut an astronaut psychologist is sent to a space station that's orbiting around a planet called Solaris, and he's sent to observe the surface of this planet, and it's covered in oceans. And while he's on the space station, weird things happen. I won't get too into it, but it's a science fiction film, and it's great. And Roger Ebert gave it 4 stars.
Dang.
So
Roger Ebert.
That's his max. That's his the highest he'll go. 4 stars, 4 out of 4.
Okay. So, wow. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
That already gives an indication, and so will mine. The first one I got was 45 Years by Andrew Haigh. I'm currently working on a best of the 2010s list where I try to see as many movies as I can for 2010s. And this is a guy, Andrew Haigh, who has made 3 movies I'm really curious about. This was a blind buy. I have a couple of those. But he made a movie called Weekend, which I want to see, 45 Years, and one that came out a few years ago called Lean on Pete. All have been critically appraised. And I was really curious to kind of check him out and see what his movies are about. And this one was one of those that was there, and no one had touched it. It's been in the same spot for the last week. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm really new to Criterion, but a big sell of it was an audio commentary. I really like those a lot, is listening to the director kind of describe and talk about scenes. It's basically, the movie's basically a story about a couple who's been married for 45 years. They're going on their 45-year anniversary, and something happens, and then that's the rest of the story. It's a blind buy. I really hope it's good. Maybe I'll probably talk about it in what we've been watching pretty soon. So yeah, 45 Years, Andrew Haigh. I'm really curious about him as a filmmaker because all of his 3 movies, he's made a couple more, but most of them have been critically acclaimed. Lean on Pete was in my local cinemas, my local theater. And I did not get a chance to watch it because I was busy finishing up school, college, that is, and never got a chance to see it. So now this is my hope that he lives up to my expectations, but we'll see.
Solid.
Yeah. What was the next one you got, Mark?
I got War and Peace. This is let's see, what year was it? I think it was 67. I think it was 1967. 1966 to 67. So I think it took a while for it to release. It's because it's 422 minutes long.
What?
6 hours, 4 parts. And so a little history about this film. It's an adaptation of Leo Tolstoy's infamous novel War and Peace, obviously. And that book is like 1,400 pages. I'm really excited to read it. I'm going to read it soon because I'm a big fan of the Napoleonic era and all those wars. So 1955 or like 56, Hollywood had come out with an adaptation of the book War and Peace. I don't know how long it is, but I know it stars Audrey Hepburn and Henry Fonda, so like 2 big Hollywood stars. And so Hollywood had adapted it, and then 10 years later, the Soviet Union wanted to like prove that they could like have their own sort of Hollywood. And so what better way to kick off their new Hollywood than adapting one of the most famous Russian novels of all time? And so it's 422 minutes long, as I said. It's 4 parts. And it's directed by Sergei Bondarchuk. who he suffered 2 heart attacks while making this film. I mean, you can imagine adapting a book this big. um,
Jesus.
so I'm really excited to watch this. This was a blind buy. I haven't read the book, but I'm looking forward to diving into this. So that's what I got.
Well, first off, how did you order your movies? I did alphabetical. Did you do spine number?
I just stacked them in a random order.
I'm the organized guy here, but I actually my next one I bought was Being John Malkovich. Blind buy. Spike Jonze, Her is one of my favorite movies of the 2010s. I love Her, so I was like, of course I have to watch, more Spike Jonze and Charlie Kaufman movies. I love Anomalisa. Anomalisa's phenomenal. So, and it's Being John Malkovich. It's one of those kind of movies where you watch the movie and there's the before and there's the after you watch John Malkovich. It's very much a kind of like, I really didn't know they could do this in movies and kind of make it really weird. I've seen it. I've watched all the supplemental material. Comes with tons of great stuff. If you really want to get an insight onto kind of how Spike Jonze operates as a director, excellent stuff. There's a really weird interview in this. I don't know how to explain it, except it's weird. And the movie's weird, but I really like this movie. And as you can see, Mark tends to focus kind of more on the classics, and I like the more kind of generic, these are the bigger movies, kind of stuff like that. But Being John Malkovich was a must-buy. This was actually one of the first ones I bought in this because this was a must-have. I really wanted to see it. Mark, what was the next one?
Well, I just want to add, I haven't seen Being John Malkovich, but I'm really excited to watch it. And all I'll say is I wish I had seen this movie before I saw Adaptation.
I have not seen Adaptation. This will go well for me then, hopefully.
So you'll have a really good experience watching Adaptation for the first time.
Excellent. I cannot wait.
God, I love Adaptation. I really hope they put it in the collection. So next movie I got, Andrei Rublev. So this is, can't really see it. It's Andrei Tarkovsky's sophomore film. So it came out in 1966, and it follows it's a Russian movie. As you can tell, I like a lot of Russian movies.
Yeah,
concerning. It's about a I believe he was an actual historical figure named Andrei Rublev, and he was like this Russian painter monk that like was going around Russia in the Middle Ages.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie is 3 hours and 3 minutes long. It's basically a historical epic. I've seen it before. It wasn't a blind buy, and it is so good. It's not my favorite work from Tarkovsky. I think in the 70s he hits this really philosophical stride that's just so good. So Andrei Rublev, if you haven't gotten to Tarkovsky, and I'm sure there's I'm sure a lot of people watching this are like Criterion fans.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They're probably like, oh yeah, get on to the next thing. We've all seen Andrei Rublev.
Yeah.
But if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. It's amazing. It's on the Criterion channel, and your perspective on film will change.
How long is it again? How long did you say?
3 hours and 3 minutes.
Well, Mark, I have a movie. My next one beats you at 3 hours and 5 minutes. Barry Lyndon. This is a blind buy. Mark also has it.
Barry Lyndon gang.
Barry Lyndon gang. Mark, you are a massive Kubrick fan. I am seeing some of his movies, and I really like his movies. So it's Stanley Kubrick and it's Barry Lyndon. I really don't feel like I have a lot to say on it that everyone hasn't already kind of said. It's Stanley Kubrick. I wanted to watch his movies. That's it. I mean, it's Barry Lyndon. It was on sale, and for some reason, because this is sold out, there was one copy at a store near me, and if you look at the rest of my state it was just out of stock, in stock 15 minutes away. I was like, okay, and I bought it. It's Barry Lyndon, Stanley Kubrick. Go watch it. It's a blind buy for me, but it's Stanley Kubrick. I trust him.
So on the topic of Barry Lyndon, I blind bought this during the last Criterion sale. That was in February. That was the Criterion Flash sale. So this sale is Barnes & Noble. The last one was on their website. So I bought this movie because it said a film by Stanley Kubrick, and I was like, I'm going to buy that. But I'd never heard of it before. And I was like, I guess it's about gunslingers or something, just based off the thing. So I popped it in, and I watched it. And my entire idea of what cinematography could be completely changed. It's funny. It's Kubrick is held as one of the best directors ever, and he is. And I never heard about this movie. And
Yeah,
thank you, Criterion, for showing me it.
this seems to fall under the radar for kind of his movies, because this came out in the mid 70s, 75, during
Yeah.
like his peak of kind of greatness, and no one talks about it. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's because so he did 2001, and then he finished 2001, and he was obsessed with Napoleon, and he wanted to do a Napoleon movie, and he created a script, and he basically became an amateur Napoleon historian, and studying what could potentially be his next epic film. And he went over budget for 2001, and it was the production wasn't exactly a disaster, but Stanley was just really pushing for certain things that he believed to be uh, needed for the film for it to be what it was. And he was right, of course, but he went over budget, and the studio MGM was not really happy. So he had to prove that I can make a really good movie for a low budget. And so what he makes next, between what he hoped was 2001 and Napoleon, was Clockwork Orange. He made that for $2 million, and it was a success.
That cheap? Wow.
Yeah, it was really cheap. He filmed it in England.
Okay.
And then Waterloo comes out, and that's a film that it came out in 1970, total flop, and it's about Napoleon's notorious epic loss that basically he lost, and he had to go live on St. Helena for the rest of his life, and then he died of stomach cancer. Anyway, the producers were like, no one wants to see a Napoleon movie. Waterloo just failed, so sorry, Stanley, you can't make it. So he makes Barry Lyndon. And it's very bittersweet for me because I would have loved to see a Napoleon film, but I'm so glad we got Barry Lyndon because this movie is immaculate. And I'm so glad I blind bought it. Yeah. Blind bought it. I said blind bought it. But
my God.
Enough about Barry Lyndon. It's amazing. And I'm really excited for you to watch it, Tyler.
I cannot wait. Mark, what's the next one you bought? Because I did Barry Lyndon.
Next one I got is Moonrise Kingdom, Wes Anderson.
Ooh, I actually had no idea you bought that one.
Yeah, I bought it with you. Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't. There's so much stuff in this thing. It's awesome. Haven't seen this one. Haven't seen this Wes Anderson movie, so I'm excited to watch it. Probably be watching it this weekend, and I bought it because it's Wes Anderson.
Yeah. I own Moonrise Kingdom on Blu-ray. I've seen it a couple times. It's great. I think it's in its upper tier of kind of movies. Wes Anderson's a really interesting filmmaker where he makes really great movies that I'm never super eager to rush out and go rewatch, which is weird. He has a really unique style, and that might be a Wes Anderson hot take. But yeah, I mean, Criterion Collection loves Wes Anderson. All of his movies, except I would have loved to see an Isle of Dogs because I love Isle of Dogs so much. Isle of Dogs is one of my favorite Wes Anderson movies. It might be my favorite. I would have loved to see a release for that. But yeah, who knows?
I think it's definitely coming because Wes Anderson is like he's partnered with the Criterion Collection a bunch of times for all of his films, and Grand Budapest came out in 2014, and this past April 2020, that's when the Grand Budapest was released.
See, but Isle of Dogs came out in 2018, so there's no way.
So it might be. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen in a little while from now.
Darn. This one I didn't buy during the sale. But I would love to just discuss it. It's Curious Case of Benjamin Button. It's the only Criterion to be released as a Blu-ray kind of like this. I mean, everything is in this kind of packaged case, but for some reason it's like this. It's a middle tier David Fincher movie. It's long. It's too long, and it's good.
How long is it?
165 minutes. Wow, looking at 2 hours and 45 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
I know a lot of people like this movie. I know a lot of people don't like this movie. I'm right smack in the middle. It's a good movie, but it's not David Fincher's best. It's not his worst. It's Curious Case of Benjamin Button. It's just a really weird release, and I don't know why they did this. Because you can't find it in the Criterion section anywhere. It's just, you go to a place, and it's at a Best Buy, and you're like, because I got this at a Best Buy. And you're like, why? Okay. You're like, sure. Why not? It's because I got it for $10. I didn't spend this much money on it. I never would. Curious Case of Benjamin Button. David Fincher's amazing. Watch his movies. I was going to buy the game on Criterion, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So, what's the next one you got, Mark?
This is probably pretty much a staple for any Criterion fans collection. Eraserhead.
Oh my god.
Look at him.
Like, he's so beautiful.
David Lynch's debut 1977 film, which I think took 6 years to make, if I'm not mistaken.
How long is it?
It is 89 minutes.
It's not even an hour and a half. Jeez. Okay.
This movie, I don't even know how to describe it. I like how you said with being John Malkovich. Eraserhead is, it's like you can divide your life into before Eraserhead and after Eraserhead.
Yep.
I think when I watched this movie and I finished it for the first time, I thought I blacked out for about an hour and a half, and then I woke up and I was like, "Where am I? What is this place?" Yeah, but this Criterion Collection edition of it has so much stuff on it. You get this pretty thick booklet on it,
Thick.
and then you get six David Lynch short films on it, as well as like 2 different documentaries and a bunch of interviews with the cast.
Dang.
So, Eraserhead. Big David Lynch fan. Matt, if you're watching this, David Lynch is not a hack. He's a great filmmaker. This is one of Stanley Kubrick's favorite films. He showed this to the cast of The Shining before they shot it.
Dang.
So, take that.
Yeah, Matt, our third host, Matt.
Who?
Who? That bastard does not like David Lynch. So my next 2 movies that I bought were the 2 I wanted the most. There were 2 that I knew going in when you were telling me about the sales. Like, okay, these are the 2 I want to buy. Absolutely. The first one, it's a staple for anyone who likes Criterion. It's basically sold out everywhere, but it's Do the Right Thing. It's Spike Lee's best movie. It's one of the best movies ever made.
Right there.
Yeah, Mark has it over there. It's one of the best Criterion releases. It's not only incredibly prevalent right now, given everything that's happening, but it's just a timeless movie. With I'm not a big fan, admittedly, of a lot of Spike Lee's style. I recently watched She's Gotta Have It. And there are elements of it that I like and elements of it that I don't like. But for some reason in this movie, whether it's the style at which he kind of decided to utilize with this film, it just kind of works. Everything about this movie works. Even stuff that I'm not the biggest fan of is in other movies. I'm not really a big fan of obtrusive kind of like jazz music over dialogue scenes. But in this movie, it just works. Again, not a lot to say. I've seen this movie. It wasn't a blind buy. It's amazing. It's an absolute must watch. Go see it. Go buy it if you have to. This is the first one I bought. I mean, I had to. This is the one I was like, okay, I'm going to buy at least this. So that's Do the Right Thing.
Yep, I have Doing the Right Thing. I actually blind bought it, the Criterion, and I watched it, and everything what Tyler just said. It's so good.
Yeah.
I think it's on like a bunch of filmmakers like top films, like top 10 films.
Yeah.
And I fully understand that.
It's impeccable.
It might be my top 10. I'm not sure.
It's one of those movies that you watch and you go, it's flawless. And I know a lot of people I know that's not a unique take, but it really is. It's kind of one of those things where it's just a must buy and a must watch. So Do the Right Thing.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. The next one I got, I'm trying to collect all the Kubrick movies. Paths of Glory, Kirk Douglas, 1957. This is a movie that takes place in the First World War, and Kirk Douglas's character, what's his name? Colonel Dax. He leads he has a squadron that's supposed to capture like a base, and things happen with the higher command in the army, and so it's a really great war film, and Kirk Douglas is amazing, and Stanley Kubrick's direction. He's like in the movie. There's like a lot of scenes that take place in a trench, so you get these long tracking shots through the trenches, and it's just amazing. It's amazing. And I heard in I think it was on some late night show, Martin Scorsese was talking about it, and he was just talking the tracking shots and Paths of Glory just always stick with you because they're just amazing. And yeah, it's 1957. It's one of Kubrick's earlier works. I think this is like the work that sort of put him on the radar of everybody.
Yep.
So yeah, Paths of Glory. It was on Amazon Prime Video. That's how I watched it the first time. But now it's off. So now I have the Criterion.
Dang. Yeah, Mark's a clear big Kubrick fan. I gotta catch up.
Yeah.
This is my second must buy. It is not a blind buy, but it's Francis Ha. I love this movie. I've seen it once. I plan on watching it really soon. I adore this movie. I'm not the biggest Noah Baumbach fan. I think he makes really interesting movies, but this is just kind of one that really connected to me. I really resonated with the character of Francis, and it's a really unique presentation. It has, I believe it has, it doesn't have a commentary, but I mean, I saw it once, and I was like, I want to own this. I really, really want to rewatch this again. I love this movie. It's not a lot of people buy this on Criterion, and I get it. I watched this and Squid and the Whale in one night, and Francis Ha blew Squid and the Whale out of the water. It's short, it's black and white. I really find the presentation interesting, and I think it elevates this kind of the story it's telling. It kind of makes it a more kind of personal story without the color, which I really like. All around fantastic movie. This and Do the Right Thing were my two must buys. That no matter what, I was gonna buy these if I only spent $40. That's Francis Ha.
Nice. I gotta watch that. That's on Netflix, right?
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. So another Stanley Kubrick film, The Killing, 1955. I just watched it for the first time 2 nights ago, and it's really good. I won't say much because I know you haven't seen it, Tyler, but it's a really good heist film. Ooh. And there's nonlinear storytelling, and it's, Kubrick has, it's his second film, I think. So his first film was Fear and Desire. This was his second one. And, Kubrick hadn't exactly hit his stride yet, but there's certain elements of this film that are just fantastic. And there's his third feature film on this. So this is The Killing, but it also has his third film, The Killer's Kiss, on it. So there's 2 films for the price of one. And so I haven't watched this third one. That's Killer's Kiss. I think that came out a year after The Killing. It's great. And I love Kubrick.
Yeah, clearly. All right, my movie is Rushmore. This is arguably my favorite Wes Anderson movie. It's between this and Isle of Dogs. I've seen this movie twice. I would really have to rewatch Isle of Dogs. This is one of those few Wes Anderson movies. Wes Anderson movies are quirky, and I say that in a good way. But this is the one kind of Wes Anderson movie where I'd say is legitimately really funny. And I absolutely had to buy this. Again, Grand Budapest, there are probably better made movies of his. I'm not going to argue, but this one's just is my favorite. I think it's the most rewatchable out of the bunch. It's 90 minutes. I know a lot of his movies are, but there's just something about this movie that it's simple, it's funny, it's heartfelt, and it just kind of really connects. And this was one of those I had to buy it. I saw it, I had to buy it. I probably won't buy any other of his movies except for Isle of Dogs on Criterion. Rushmore. This one is also one that wasn't sold out. So if you get a chance, that, Bottle Rocket, and Fantastic Mr. Fox are the one I saw that were not sold out. So if you get a chance, go buy Rushmore. Rushmore's great.
You gotta let me borrow.
Yeah, you're
do a swap.
Yeah, we'll just do a giant Criterion swap.
Yeah, like a yeah.
We'll do a trade.
It's I'll give you The Killing. Yeah, you gotta check it out. Yeah, I gotta give you a bunch that you gotta watch. And I gotta watch Being John Malkovich and Rushmore.
We gotta do a bunch. You're just gonna see. We're gonna be Criterion experts, except we're not. Mark, do you have any more?
Yes, I have 2 more.
Okay.
This came in today. Thin Red Line.
Ooh.
1998, directed by Terrence Malick, and it features Adrian Brody, Sean Penn, and others. And it's 171 minutes. I can't even mention that right now. 2 hours and 59 minutes. Yeah, 58. Sorry, 51.
Yeah, 51. There you go.
Yeah, 2 hours and 51 minutes. Blind Eye. I haven't seen anything by Terrence Malick. I've been tempted to get like The New World or Days of Heaven or Tree of Life, but I felt like this was the safest bet for me, for Terrence Malick, because I hear that he's like a director philosopher. Like, it's like you love him or you just hate him.
Yep.
That's what I've heard. I think Roger Ebert and Martin Scorsese put this in their like top films of the decade for 1990s. So dang. I was like, okay, you won me.
Yeah, you got me.
So
he did it.
I look forward to watching this.
Yeah.
And then you don't get any more, right?
I have me.
Do you
I
got any
have
more?
three. I have three more.
Oh, go.
Okay. This one, is Sex Lies and Videotapes. Steven Soderbergh's second movie, I believe, or first movie. I love Steven Soderbergh. I do have, and this was kind of just one of those things like, all right, it's Steven Soderbergh. I know I'm getting at least a decent movie out of this no matter what. Haven't seen it. I really look forward to it. But I have a small gripe about the covering of this. As you can see, it's one of these, but it's also incredibly difficult to put back. So the edges right here and on the top and bottom get bent easily because it's paper. So it's a pain in the ass because it already looks a little worn out, mainly because I put it in once and then struggled to put it back in. But I mean, it's Sex Lies and Videotapes. I just don't like how it's like presented here with this kind of like really tight slip cover on it.
Yeah.
But again, this is like a classic movie. Steven Soderbergh. It's great.
Mhm.
Mark, what's your final one?
John Cassavetes, 5 films.
Jesus, that thing's giant.
So this has 5 films, as I just said. Shadows, Faces, A Woman Under the Influence, The Killing of a Chinese Bookie, and final one is Opening Night. So I think in the previous review I talked about Shadows because that's the only one I've seen so far. And a little about John Cassavetes. He was the pioneer of independent film. He really was not a fan of Hollywood. He thought it was a failure, all of Hollywood, and so he just went out and he used his money that he made from in Hollywood to fund his films. And I've heard a lot of great things about them, and I watched one, and it was phenomenal.
Yep.
And I loved his acting. Rosemary's Baby.
Okay.
He's so good in that movie, and it's very creepy. So very excited to dive into this box.
Yeah.
I just Criterion again. If you're still watching this and you haven't bought any Criterion, you're like, what the heck is this stuff? These films are presented beautifully. I mean, you won't find this anywhere else. Maybe there's that company Arrow, I think, in the UK.
Arrowhead.
And it's like sort of like the UK, yeah. They have the sort of UK Criterion, but I mean, this is just phenomenal. I just love looking at this. Again, materialism, the video.
Oh my God, absolutely. Hey, Mark,
yeah.
you talked about his movie Shadows in our Old Guard and Palm Springs review. I'll try to put a link, but basically, if you go to that and go to the description and click what we've been watching, Mark talks more in depth about John Cassavetes' Shadows in that movie. I have 2 more, which I'll do quick. I have Michael Mann's The Thief. This is a blind buy. I recently watched it. I have not seen a ton of his movies. But the thing is, Collateral is one of my favorite movies ever made. I love Collateral. And this is basically like, it's a neo-noir Michael Mann movie with James Caan, and he plays a safecracker. And I'm like, I'm in. And I bought it. And just if that gives you an insight, when I had my hand on it and I was going to go buy it and I was walking away from the section at Barnes & Noble, a guy stopped me. He's like, are there any left of Thief? And I went, no, I got the last one. And he went, oh! I was like, I'm sorry. But I'm getting this. I saw that and it was immediate, like, I love Michael Mann. I really want this movie. It's a really good movie. It's not perfect, but it definitely has those shades of, like, really great Michael Mann. It came out in 1981. Love it. Don't love the movie, but I love this release. It looks beautiful.
It's funny that you say you like Michael Mann and you haven't seen The Godfather.
Shut up. God, I own The Godfather on Blu-ray. I own all of them. I'll watch them.
What?
Okay. My final one, and this one was a blind buy, but this is a movie that came out in 2018. I watched the trailer for it, and then it disappeared completely. I completely forgot about it. And then I saw it there and was like, I remember this movie. It's Wildlife. It's Paul Dano's directorial debut. And I watched it, and I have a slight issue with the release of this. It's a good movie. It has a lot of promise for Paul Dano. He's a very unique filmmaker, and it's my kind of style of movie. I love oftentimes when shots are just kind of put the camera down and you let characters kind of throughout. There's not a lot of camera movement. It's really great. There's not a lot of supplemental material on this. It's kind of really like sparse, and the material isn't that great. The best one's probably a conversation with Paul Dano and his editor. But other than that, it's kind of a little bit sparse on supplemental material. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like you buy it for the movie and don't expect much after that. But this is a really great movie to own. Jake Gyllenhaal's great in it. Everyone's great in it. That's Wildlife. Mark, those are our criterions.
What?
What?
Hold on. What's behind you?
Okay. Mark, the first Criterion I actually ever technically came in possession of was Mark lent me Ingmar Bergman's Persona, which he lent me about a month ago, and I have yet to watch. I will. Uh, but anyone on Criterion knows Ingmar Bergman. Ingmar Bergman. I gotta watch it. I will. But I figured to make myself more credible, I just prop it in the background over there. Uh, but those aren't the only things we bought. We also bought some Blu-rays during the time. This one we'll do a little quick. Because then we went.
Wait. I have. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there's a little bit of a lag for me. My internet's sort of shitting the bed a little bit.
Yep.
Uh, is it that bad? Can you hear?
Yes, you are fine. I can hear you.
Oh, I sound good. There's just a
Yeah.
little bit of a lag. Okay.
Just a little bit, but you're okay.
Okay. Tomorrow I'm getting Nashville, the 1975 Robert Altman film. Blind Buy, never seen it. Really excited. And then I'm getting the Bruce Lee box that just came out with Criterion. It has 5 of his films.
Dang.
And I look forward to it. And I've spent way too much money on this sale.
You have absolutely spent way too much money.
So, all right, Tyler, let's talk our regular Blu-rays, our peasant Blu-rays.
Okay. As you can see, again, I buy Blu-rays. And these are all stuff that I kind of bought recently. I'll just go. We'll do them a little quick, but I got the favorite, Yorgos Lanthimos, 2018. I think it should have won Best Picture for the year. I think it's phenomenal. It's a great movie. It's kind of one of those where it was on sale for like $10. I was like, okay, sure, absolutely, duh. And then I bought it. I've seen it. It's lovely. Go watch The Favorite. Mark, what did you buy?
Let's see. So again, Kubrick. I got Full Metal Jacket. I wasn't planning on getting this, and then I was walking out of Barnes & Noble with Tyler, and he was like, "There's a jacket." Okay, I'm gonna buy it.
You're like, all right.
So now I own it, and it's in
Okay.
my room, and I'm holding it in my hands. So
It's beautiful.
Yeah, Full Metal Jacket. Just a small review for me. I think the first 50 minutes or so, like the boot camp scenes, masterpiece. So
Masterpiece.
good.
Okay.
I've to the second part with the war eventually, but I haven't yet.
Okay.
But still love this movie through and through.
Okay. I am actually going to package 2 together. One is 2016's La La Land by Damien Chazelle. You can actually check out our review, our in-depth review on La La Land, and you can give Matt shit for how terrible his take is on this movie. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Adore this movie. Not enough can be said. It's beautiful. It's well directed. It's everything you kind of want in a movie. An original movie, too. And then I also bought First Man. This is actually somehow really underrated now, even though it got pretty decent reviews. Everyone has forgotten about it, and people don't really like this movie, it seems. They kind of find it boring. They don't really like the presentation of it. I adore this movie. I find it riveting. I think it has some of the best special effects in any movie. It's amazing, and it has a phenomenal music. I really dig it. So that's Damien Chazelle. I own all his movies on Blu-ray. I love Whiplash. They're all A movies for me. It's Damien Chazelle. I mean, what else can you say? Mark, what else did you buy?
I got more Stanley Kubrick. I'll bundle it up now. Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
It's Kubrick's last film, 1999. Yes, 1999. I was 2 years old when this came out. I've seen this once, and it disturbed me, so I bought it. So yeah, those who've seen the movie know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Another movie that disturbed me by the same filmmaker, Stanley Kubrick, A Clockwork Orange.
Yep.
The ultra-violent movie, future dystopian sort of story that's terrifying and features one of the scariest protagonists in cinematic history, Alex DeLarge. I've watched this movie once, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I watched it, and then I read the book. And now I own it. I just got this today, and I cannot wait to watch it again.
Nice. Is that all of yours?
I got one more.
You got one more? All right. I got Dave Fincher's Gone Girl. Dave Fincher's one of my favorite directors. Gone Girl's a great movie. I don't really have a lot to say about it. Anyone who likes David Fincher or likes movies knows about Gone Girl. phenomenal. Again, as you can tell, this is like in my best of the 2010s list. I'm buying a lot of movies post 2010 because I really want to make a good list. And I'll do one more quick one so we can finish it off. I bought If Beale Street Could Talk. I know this is available to stream on Hulu, but it was on sale for cheap at Best Buy, and I was like, okay. I really like Moonlight. Barry Jenkins is a really interesting director. I have not gotten a chance to watch it yet, but the main actress, Kiki Lane, we watched in Old Guard, and she was a little hit or miss in Old Guard, so I'm really curious to see what she does here with a really great director, with Barry Jenkins. Cannot wait. That's If Beale Street Could Talk. Mark, what's your final one?
Final one, and we just talked about this on the podcast.
Ooh.
Boogie Nights.
Hey, go check out our
There he
Boogie
is,
Nights review.
Dirk Diggler himself unzipping his pants on
I love it.
cover. So if you want to hear what we think about P.T. Anderson's sophomore film, I keep saying that.
We sound so cool.
Makes me sick. Yeah.
we sound so professional.
Everyone talks about the sophomore slump, and I think don't beat the sophomore slump as well as Paul Thomas Anderson.
No, he is not. Speaking of sophomore movies, The Lighthouse.
Hey.
This is a great movie. Eventually, we're gonna have to talk about this on our podcast, because it's a really great movie. I have a feeling one of us is gonna recommend it. But this was one of those things where it was slightly on sale, and I was like, I really liked watching it in theaters. I do have a little bit of issues with it, but again, we'll talk about it eventually. But I mean, the presentation, the directing, the performances, one of the biggest snubs with Willem Dafoe. I mean, it's The Lighthouse. If you like movies, you know about The Lighthouse. It's great. It was one of the best movies of last year. That's that. And before we go, we're going to talk about two things. Mark, so basically that's all we've been buying. Mark, what Criterions are you looking forward to buying next? Because I have two.
I plan on getting Broadcast News, which is the 1987 film, directed by someone that I don't know their name, but it stars Holly Hunter.
Okay.
And she's amazing in it. Can't wait to buy that. I'm going to get Paris, Texas. I've heard a lot about that film, directed by Wim Wenders. Came out in 1984.
The German filmmaker.
German, really?
Oh yeah.
I don't know that. That kind of makes sense now.
Yeah.
And there is David Lynch's The Elephant Man, which is coming out in September.
Yep.
I'm becoming a big David Lynch guy, and I'm really looking forward to seeing his second film. Sorry, sophomore film.
Yeah, there we go.
So I'm looking forward to that, and then down the line, after I sort of recover from all this money I spent, as you can see in the background for the Criterion fans, this thing right here, that's the Ingmar Bergman Cinema. That cost me $200.
Oh my god!
That's every penny is worth it.
That's so much money.
It's so much money. I think if it was $500, I could justify myself buying it. That's how good it is.
Oh my god.
But I digress, really though, because in August, the Criterion Collection, similar to the Ingmar Bergman release of not all of his films, it's 39 of his films. I think there's like 5 or 6 that have no prints anywhere or something. So it's all those known films in there, but they're doing a box set for Agnes Varda. She's a French filmmaker, recently passed, I think in 2019 or 2018. And I've heard so much about her. I've never seen any of her films, but all 39 of them have been restored by the Criterion Collection, and there's this big booklet that comes with it, and it's releasing in August, so probably a year or two down the line, I'll buy that.
You spend the money, yeah.
Yeah. And then one more. Sorry, one more.
Go for it.
Another box set. It's sort of similar to this in size. It's the Complete Jacques Tati, French filmmaker. He only did 6 films. I haven't seen any of them, but I've heard a lot about it, and Criterion was so kind enough to put all of it into one box set. And so I'll probably buy that once my wallet recovers. Again, I say it again because I've spent a lot. So that's what I'm looking forward to getting.
Excellent. I only have 2, considering I still need to save money. But mine are 2 2019 releases. That is the upcoming one that's coming out July 22nd, 21st. That's Marriage Story. I love Marriage Story. It's one of those few movies that I watch twice in 1 week. I usually have to watch a movie and take a little bit of time and watch it again, but I watched that twice in a week and I was hooked. It's Marriage Story. I think it was the best movie of last year, and I absolutely adored it. And then the second one is going to be Portrait of a Lady on Fire. We actually reviewed it for a podcast. Oh my god, we didn't plan that at all. But it's one of those things where I had to watch it on Hulu, and I don't have the best internet like Mark right now. So I really want to watch it in kind of crisp quality and be able to stream it and everything. Yeah, there it is. I really want that. And I looked, and it's sold out everywhere. So that might be like a quick little thing I buy on Amazon. So that's that. Those are what we want to buy. Mark, what was released or announced today? What major Criterion release announcement? What did they give us today?
Today, the Criterion Collection announced that on October 27th of this year, 2020, they will be releasing Parasite. And I'm just going to read you what's going to be coming with this edition from Criterion.
Okay.
So, new 4K digital master of the film, approved by the director Bong Joon-ho, as well as the director of photography Hong Kyung-pyo. So I'm probably butchering these names, except for Bong Joon-ho. I know how to pronounce that.
You're probably butchering that too.
New audio commentary featuring Bong and critic Tony Raines. A black and white version of the film with a new introduction by Bong Joon-ho.
Yeah, that's really
which
cool.
I'm really excited for.
Yeah, that's the main sell of it right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why they're doing it black and white, but like, for some reason I get it, and I really look forward to watching it.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued in how the release of it, what it looks like, and what it adds to it, or takes away. We never know.
Yeah. New conversation between Bong and critic Darcy Paquette. I don't know. New interviews with Hong. Maybe they meant Bong. I think it might be a. Oh no, Hong, the director of photography. Okay. Production designer Lee Ha-jun and editor Yang Jin-mo. New program about the Korean cinema movement featuring Bong and filmmaker Park Chan-wook.
That's also
director of Old Boy.
That's a massive sell. Those are two of the best directors out there right now. I love their movies. We talked about The Handmaid by Park Chan-wook. Oh my god. We actually didn't plan that either. I have some like, first off, those are two really great things. I would have loved a different Bong Joon-ho movie. And it's not me saying anything bad about Parasite. Parasite's a phenomenal movie. But there are 2 or 3 other movies I would have loved to see a release. I would have loved to see Memories of Murder. I would have loved to see Okja. And I would have loved to see, The Host. I think those are all, I like those movies more than Parasite. And again, that's not me saying Parasite's a bad movie at all. I just like those better than Parasite.
Well, I'll let you know that Criterion has confirmed that Memories of Murder is coming.
That's going to be a must buy. I have to buy that one. But I also really want a Criterion release of The Host a lot. I would love to see The Host again and kind of get that in full quality. Amazing. What do you think, Mark? What are your thoughts on Parasite kind of being released?
I've seen it, I think 3 or 4 times now. So like, I'm not like rushing to see it again.
Yeah.
But this is like a must-have.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't justify in my mind not buying this.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. And I haven't seen Memories of Murder. I've only seen The Host and Parasite from Bong Joon-ho, so I'm a little behind in terms of his filmography, but I'm excited for that. And I don't know how I feel about the Criterion cover. It says Parasite in Morse code.
Yeah.
Tyler, you'll have to edit in the cover for this.
Yeah, that's the cover right there. You saw it. But yeah, it's I should also preface that when I say I have my 3 favorite Bong Joon-ho movies, the only Bong Joon-ho movie I haven't seen is his first one, Barking Dogs Never Bite. And from all accounts, that one seems like it's not going to be in competition for his best movie. But yeah, the cover is like, compared to something like, let's take a look at, I want to see if I can find a really good one. I love the Francis Ha cover. I would have liked to see that, but the Parasite one just seems like it's the poster, which again could look really cool in person, but you'll never know. It just kind of looks a little lackluster compared to kind of how creative they could be. But that's the new release. We know there's other stuff, but that's kind of the big one that we know a lot about. So, Mark, that's our thoughts on what we buy for Criterion. What's our call to action?
Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.
Yep.
Comment down below your favorite film fraud.
That's
Matt
me.
is still a contender, even though he's not here.
He will be here for the next review we have.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, that's our call to action. But you should also know our next episode is going to be another part of our director series where we tackle Christopher Nolan and his movie Insomnia, recommended by me. And speaking of Criterion, I know the Nolan Insomnia is a remake of a 97 movie Insomnia, which I will watch before the review, but that movie's on Criterion. Things just go around. It's all great. But yeah, Mark, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. If you made it this far, I really hope you did.
Yeah.
Go and check out the Criterion collection. Visit their website. I wouldn't recommend going to a Barnes & Noble store, given that the pandemic is sort of picking up again.
Yeah, and also it's picked clean. I think that's what
definitely, and it's picked clean. They're due for a restock soon. So if you're interested, go to the Criterion website and check out their selection. See if there's any movies that you like. I would recommend just finding a movie that you've seen before, and just buying that and seeing what comes with it. Get an idea of what the Criterion collection has to offer, because there's just so much, and it's amazing.
It's amazing.
So if you're interested in getting it, go. If you're feeling bold, go to the store, wear a mask and gloves, hopefully, and go to the Barnes & Noble website if you're interested in buying online. 50% off online, but your Barnes & Noble membership, if you have one, does not count online. It only counts in store. So you get an extra 10% off your purchase. So, yeah, go buy it. Go buy your favorite movie.
All right. That's your recommendation from Mark. Go buy your favorite movie. This has been Film Frauds. Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.